What's going on, guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting, and welcome to this new video. Today we are talking about the Powertac E9 tactical flashlight. Now, before we get into this, Powertac did reach out to me. They asked if I'd be interested in looking at one of their flashlights. So they sent me this bad boy out, and I have to say I am extremely impressed with this. I have, as you probably know if you've been a fan of the channel for a bit, I've reviewed my fair share of flashlights. This one by far is my favorite tactical flashlight. I don't throw that out lightly. As you know, some of my reviews can be fairly critical, but man, I love this thing. So let's get into it. Before we begin, they did send me this information which, with a couple things that they wanted to know. So I'm gonna be referencing this. It just literally says like the specs and stuff like that. So don't think I'm reading off anything they sent me, but I am going to be reading the specs they sent me. So, Powertac E9 can be purchased with just this setup, which is just the flashlight. When it comes like this, it does come with a holster, which will work with like duty uniforms and stuff like that, duty belts. The other option is you can get this in a kit for a long gun. So that does come with an offset Picatinny mount here. I will mount this to an AR in just a bit and show you what that looks like. But the difference in price is about 20 bucks. So this, just the flashlight alone is about 100 bucks. With the long gun kit is about $120. I just finished filming the Powertac video and I completely forgot to mention that when you get the long gun kit, it also comes with a remote switch. So quickly to touch on this, basically all that's going on here is, here's how it normally is. It's got this tail cap right here. You just unscrew this tail cap and then you screw the one with the remote switch on, and it's the exact same thing. The only difference is it's still got this side button for the strobe, but instead of a back button, it's got a cord here and then a pressure switch. So you can mount this, on your AR or wherever you want, and then it's got like a couple different pressure switches. So if you just press this pressure switch, it's got like a momentary on. You have to hold it, and when you let off, it lets go. And then this one is an on-off switch. So if you hit this big one, it turns on and off. So pretty cool, you can have this mounted up against like a forward grip or even against like the side of your magwell or something like that. And yeah, that offers a ton of usability. I can't believe I ever got to talk about this in the main video. Just keep in mind that this is also a feature that comes with the long gun kit. It does run on 2 CR123 batteries. It will also run on 1 18650 rechargeable ion or 2 rechargeable CR123 batteries. Length, we're at 134 millimeters. The bezel diameter, 25.4 millimeters. Body diameter is 23 millimeters. And this weighs 77 grams without batteries. Now, I think that's important to note. This is an extremely light flashlight for how powerful it is. And they kept it this light so that when you mount it on flashlights or when it's on your duty belt or something like that, it's almost like it's incredibly light. You can carry it around all day and it's not gonna really add any heft to what you're carrying. Illumination here. So there are 5 different modes. There's moonlight, low, medium, high, and strobe. Now on the moonlight, we're talking 1 lumen. Low, we're at 280 lumens. Medium is 635 lumens. High is 1020 lumens, and then the strobe, which utilizes high as well, is still 1020 lumens. The runtime with those, by the way, if you want to just run it on moonlight, you're at 305 hours. Low, 5.5 hours. Medium, 2.4 hours. High, 2.2 hours, and strobe for 4.4 hours. Now, that is pretty impressive. The other thing is this thing does not diminish regardless of which kind of, the runtime doesn't diminish regardless of which kind of batteries, whether you're using rechargeable or CR123s. Or 18650, is that what it is? 18650s. Yeah, these, they'll still hit that 2-hour mark, which is said in here is some ANSI standard. I don't know anything about that, but it's pretty impressive. With some of those other flashlights, depending on which battery you're using, you're getting a much different output as well as runtime. Okay, I'm gonna set this off to the side now. let's talk about this bad boy. So first up is that it does have a very aggressive finish, which I love. I have sweaty hands. I don't feel like this thing is going to slip. My hands can be soaked, and I don't feel like this thing is going anywhere. I love that about it. Next thing is it has a very aggressive bezel. I don't know why more flashlights don't have this. It's a very, very sturdy. It's not sharp because, you know, they're blunt edges, but they're sturdy enough to where if you had to ram this into something, into someone, like, that thing's gonna hurt, man, and it's not gonna break off. Like, it's ready to be bashed in. The other thing is this front little, you know, like the actual glass or plastic or whatever it is on the front is clean. Like, I can scratch it all day long and it stays clean. Some of the cheaper flashlights I've used, you know, if you take your fingernail to it, or, you know, whatever, after a lot of use, the thing scratches up, it gets foggy, it gets gross. I've used this thing a lot over the past couple weeks, and it looks completely brand new in there, which is pretty impressive. Okay, now let's get to the actual functionality of this beast, and this is where this thing really excels for me. So there are two buttons. We've got a button on the very back here, a big, huge, you know, thumb button, and then on the side here we also have a smaller button. Now, the big button is your on-off switch. That's all it does. Turns it on and it turns it off. I love that. I love the simplicity. If we want to cycle through the modes, we're going to turn it on, and then that's what this little guy's going to do. So we're going to go boom, boom, so that's high. We're going to hit strobe. We're going to go moonlight, back to low, and then I'm going to turn it off and keep it on low. And when I turn it back on, I'm still on low. Now, if I'm in the off position and I need to immediately go to strobe, that's what this little guy will do. This little side one, when I'm in the off, boom, strobe. If I just hold it, it's momentary. So if I immediately need to go to strobe, that's what this side button does. So if it's in the off position, if I just push and hold this thing, I've got strobe. Geez, that's bright. The other way to get to strobe is if I push this on and it's sitting on, and at any time I need to switch over to strobe, if I just long press this side button, I'm in strobe. And then long press it back, and I'm out of strobe. I don't know why. That's such a simple thing, and I love it, but it doesn't exist in other flashlights. You have to like cycle through different modes to get to strobe. There should always be a separate button for strobe. It makes so much sense. Like, especially in a weapon mounted light. Like if you're gonna be using this thing, or even without, you know, I just did that whole thing on home defense. Like, strobe is extremely useful in critical situations. You shouldn't have to cycle through different modes to get to strobe. There should always be a dedicated strobe button. I love that about this light. And I love the fact that if you're just around here looking and for some reason you really need to hit strobe, you can immediately access strobe without having to cycle through modes. It's genius. It's not genius, but it's so simple. Anyways, I love that about it. Okay. Let's talk about that strobe for a minute. That is something that is very, very useful in critical situations. The fact that it's 1,000 plus lumens means that it's going to be bright enough for even daytime use. But really, it's the frequency of the strobe. You get what you pay for in the strobe world, and when you get those cheaper strobes, they're slower and they're less bright, which, you know, kind of defeats the purpose. It's not disorienting enough. This one it's a high frequency strobe. I'm going to turn this on just right here, but you can see how fast that's blinking. Okay, that's something you really need to pay attention to in the strobe world. The faster it is and the brighter it is what's really going to start disorienting you. And I'm disoriented just shining this thing at the table in a way, like let alone in someone's eyes. So, yeah. Overall, just the light itself is fantastic. It's light, it works as a blunt force option. You know, it's plenty bright. It's got plenty of different options for just, you know, using as a flashlight, finding something in the garage. And self-defense, home defense, you know, the strobe is super useful. So let's talk a little bit about this mounting option. Now, as I mentioned, it does come with a offset Picatinny rail. So, you know, attach this to your Picatinny, throw this bad boy right in here, and then you've got 4 screws to lock that thing down. You can see me at the range here. I was just kind of messing around with it, playing with it, making sure that it was sturdy. And yeah, it's certainly sturdy enough. Now, one thing that I don't like about this is the fact that it requires tools to take in and out of this. There's 4 screws here. I think it's 7/32 is the Allen key. But yeah, you have to lock this thing down, and it takes a solid, you know, minute or two to really get this thing in place. It's not that big of a deal, you know, if you're sitting at home, you're at your workbench or whatever. But like, you know, if you're out at the range or something, you carry this thing on you and you want to throw it on your gun, you got to get out your tools, screw this thing on, shoot, shoot, shoot. When you're done, you have to unscrew everything, find somewhere to keep all these, and then put this back in your pocket. I'm not a big fan of that. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's just not like sturdy enough or something, but if you could throw this in there and have something that just locked it in place, and then you could just flip that open and take this out, that would be miles better. It's fine as is, but I feel like you have to sort of decide one way or the other whether you want to carry this flashlight or whether you want to have this mounted on your gun. Size-wise, it is a bit big for like everyday carry kind of thing. You know, like I probably wouldn't want to throw this in my pocket, but if I was going out hunting, going out camping, fishing, anything where like, you know, I'm having a sturdy belt on and I've got big cargo pants or something, like I'm taking this flashlight with me all day long. It's so light, like it's not a big deal, and the functionality of it far outweighs anything else. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this thing. You know, it's all pros for me. If I had any cons, it's more with this mount than the light itself. As I mentioned, $100 for the light here, and then $120 for the long gun kits. Those links to the Amazon pages are down in the video description below. One thing I want to mention too is these guys, when they reached out to me, they made it very clear that they manufacture these. Like if I have feedback for them, they can make those adjustments in their R&D facility and in their manufacturing facility. They're not taking these, this isn't an overseas product, you know what I mean? Like this is all in-house, USA made, which I can really get behind. I've reviewed enough products from overseas with companies sending me to them and noticing that they're the same light with different logos on them. It drives me crazy. I'm a big fan of Powertac. I've said that a bunch. It's probably coming across a little too much at this point. They didn't sponsor me. They're not paying me anything for this video. They just, I mean, they sent me this product for my honest review. And that's my honest review. This is going to be my go-to flashlight from now on. I will probably order another one to have mounted on my AR at all times because I want to just carry this one around with me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you found it insightful. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. That helps me out a bunch. If you enjoyed this little bit more in-depth video about, you know, showing some stuff at the range, showing some like nice product shots, as well as this whole talking thing, if you enjoy that, hit the thumbs up button. It takes me longer. It takes me, it's more involved for me, but if you guys enjoy it more, then I enjoy it more. Let me know what you think. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about the light, what you think about the video. You guys know the drill. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time on Green Light Shooting.